for you, but
right.
It works. And we're live here on New York Television with Wellness Women with your host, Lynnis. You're live, Lynn.
Hey, everybody. Wow. Welcome, welcome. This is our first time live, streaming live on Facebook. Hope everybody can see me okay. It's wonderful to have you here, and welcome to the Wellness Woman Show on the New Earth Television Network. I'm so excited to be here, and many thanks to Rachel Love, my producer. And if you haven't had a chance to check out New Earth Television, please check it out. Wonderful programs for women, about women, by women, and I'm lucky to be here with all of you today. I wanted to talk today in particular about what goes on with us in midlife as we age when it comes to making choices and taking chances and pursuing our goals and our dreams. Some of you might know my story. You know that at the age 51, I left corporate America and decided that I wanted to go ahead and pursue what I thought was my dream and my calling, which was wellness. And 9 years later, here I am with 2 shows, a magazine, online school, and a lot of followers on the internet, a coaching practice. It has been a wonderful adventure, but it did require a little bit of something. I don't know what you call it, craziness, denial, whatever it is, taking a chance to pursue something that I wanted to do, even though I didn't know quite how to do it. Well, today I have a soul sister who pretty much has the same kind of story. Sara Troy is the founder, the owner, and creator of Self-Discovery Radio Network. And her network has been around for quite some time, and she features all kinds of shows that fall in the wellness genre. But the amazing thing about Sara is that she too made a choice in midlife to pursue her passion, which has now become her life, which is producing wonderful shows about fantastic topics that really are all about better ways that you can live this life. And I'm so excited to have Sara with us today. Sara, welcome to the Wellness Woman. It's wonderful to have you here today.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here, and I'm quite honored. So inviting me, love, and just have to let everybody know we are actually very honored to have you on selfdiscoveryradio.com. You bring a great deal of wisdom to the plate, and everybody benefits who listens to your shows.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I hadn't even said yet that I'm one of her talk show hosts on the Wellness Journey podcast series. We're starting a new series starting this week, which is Midlife Strategy for Full Life Living. But today we're going to be talking to Sara about her network, about how she got the gumption together to pursue her true passion, and maybe some advice on how some inspiration on maybe how you can do the same thing. So Sara, what's your story? How did you come to create the Self-Discovery Network?
I was in transition, and I was actually kind of at that point in life where something I had invested everything in, money, time, effort, love, passion, had crashed. And it was, where do I go from here? I was completely lost, and I got thrown into a depression. And I know when I am depressed, I need to go and be proactive. So I wrote an article and responded to a few people on Facebook. And this producer of another network saw it and went to my site and said, I think you should do your own shows. And so I was on Authentic You Media for 13 months, doing live show, which was a great lesson, because as we know with live, anything can happen. And but then it was, I'm in my niche, I'm in my calling, this is it for me. And so I decided to open up and do my own network and give a platform for people such as yourself to come and share that wonderful wisdom.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that platform. What is the platform, and how did you decide on it, and how does it resonate with you personally in terms of your quest to make a change in your life?
Oh, well, I have to say all these shows have been wonderful therapy for me. I really would share stories of other people and the things that they've gone through, and how they've gone through it, the strength, the courage, the tenacity, and then the wisdom and the tools and the programs they have to help it. You know, that kind of inspiration you can't walk by, you can't walk away from. So this is what propelled it to grow into, you know, 1,900 collector shows on the network. And this is what's propelled me to falling into my passion and my niche. So it's just something that it's just become who I am and what I'm very proud of, because it is about embracing who we are, that wonderful divine presence of who we are and what we're capable of being and how awesome we can be as human beings when we decide our divine presence and our meaningful purpose.
I know you've interviewed a lot of women in particular, and a lot of midlife women, and a lot of women who have to deal with mind, body, spirit wellness. From all the interviews that you've done and listening to them and their wisdom and advice, what do you think has been maybe the deterrent for women when it comes to taking the same kind of chance like you have or like I have when it comes to pursuing their dreams? What do you think is holding us back?
Old patterning. You know, we've lived our life by other people's expectations, society's dictation, what we should do, what we must do, you know, what is expected of us. And nowhere on the line were we given permission to embrace what we want to do or explore the gift that lies within us. And I think, you know, majority of the people that I've interviewed have been late 40s plus. And it's because they've had that tap on the shoulder like you. You know, for some people, it's a tap on the shoulder. This is not your path anymore. Go and embrace your authentic self. For some people, it might be a kiss on the brow. For some people, it ends up being the cosmic 2x4.
Right.
And, you know, little flattening before they rise from those ashes. But I think a great deal of it is old patterning and somewhere looking for that permission to place value and importance upon themselves and their own journey and their own gift to life.
How do you stay motivated? I know it's difficult running your own business and so many things inherently that come along to distract you, but how do you stay motivated and focused?
It's the shows, the people. You know, I do suffer from depression, you know, and I do battle with things. I've got my own battles that go on, and I can be utterly down and depressed, and I start doing a show with someone, and the way it rises me up, inspires me, and invites me to step into my possibilities. It's the reason why it's doing it for me. It's going to be doing it for someone else. And so I really am motivated by the wonderful people, this beautiful Self Discovery Radio family, both in hosts and guests that I've got to interview and that have been a part of us. They give you hope in humanity, you know, especially in a dark time when we constantly see negativity. So to interview people that are so inspirational, and some of their stories are so hard to hear with what they've been through, but who they are today. Right. If you cannot be inspired by that, nothing's going to inspire you.
Now, you know, it's interesting because we all have stories to tell. And by the time you hit midlife, you really have had an accumulation of things that you could use to propel you on to the next thing. But there comes a point where, you know, if you're really going to do that thing that you've always been putting off, that you've always really wanted to, there comes a point where you have to decide, am I going to, you know, move forward even with fear, or am I going to succumb to the fear and just not do that thing?
Let the fear motivate you. I mean, everything I've done, I've been terrified. In my first show I did live, I pressed all the wrong buttons. Nobody could hear me. Planes are flying over. I mean, it was a Monty Python skit, you know, and doing live, you know, I've had many a time where somebody hasn't turned up or I've dropped, leaving a guest flapping in the wind. There's always something that's going to, you know, but it's part of that adrenaline, I think, is stop being paralyzed by it and be propelled by it. Because when we choose to explore what the fear is, and really it's just the unknown, you don't know what to do, well, figure out what to do and then you'll be out of the fear.
You know, you mentioned something about society's expectations, which, you know, really does have a whole lot to do with whether we want to admit it or not, whether we pursue something or not. Because, of course, we're going to think about our families and their opinions, our friends and their opinions, sometimes the neighbors, our churches, our coworkers, all these different people who are in our lives, whose lives we play different roles in. But, you know, sometimes I think that we forget to play a role in our own lives. We're so busy giving pieces of ourselves that when it's really time, or when we think we're really ready to go ahead and do something that we really want to do, it's kind of a scary proposition because you are operating without a net. You're operating in some cases, uncharted territory because you've never really haven't really done what you want to do.
Yeah, and we're not trained to embrace this new life. This is a completely new territory. And for us to step out of what has been considered the norm, people say, I played it all rules, the marriage, the 2.25 kids, the picket fence, the job, I did everything. Why am I so unhappy? Why do I feel so lost? Why do I feel so empty? I'm out there contributing. I'm doing this charity and that foundation and doing that, but I'm empty. And that is because we do not fill ourselves first. We do not oxygenate ourselves first. What have we got to give? We can't give from empty. And I think this has again become that new permission paradigm of, first and foremost, pour it into you. Your love is coming from the inside out. But if you're feeling empty on the inside, how can you give out? So I think for everybody, it's the time to be selfish in a way, step into selfishness and nurture yourself, do what you need to do for you, and then you become abundant and you can go out and do everything else. Well, that is important that you know that you need to do. But that, I think, is the hardest challenge for people, is to place that value upon themselves and understand it's you first.
And it's interesting too, because I think women do feel like they need to get permission from somewhere to do them because they're so used to doing everyone else.
Yeah.
So I would say, go ahead and give yourself permission to do you. We're all grown-ups. We're over 21 and then some. And we not only can do it, we have the right to go ahead and do those things that give us joy. I think sometimes we as women get into this whole thing of kind of like denial of joy. In fact, it's almost like, well, I don't want to have too much fun, too much joy, because then what about all these other things that aren't going right that I'm supposed to be taken care of? But, I have learned in my life and changing it from corporate America to being an entrepreneur, that those things that I thought were really important, that was supposed to bring me happiness and joy, I've done without those things, and I've been much happier. The things that I was so worried about giving up, I don't even miss those things now. And I could have them back now, and I've discovered that I'd rather do other things. Yeah. And it's interesting when you take that chance, when you take that step outside yourself to pursue something that you really want to do. It's amazing what things open up to teach you about you and about life.
I think people have been kind of conned, especially the last 2 decades, maybe 3, of that you can purchase happiness. You can purchase joy. All you need is that new car, that new outfit, that bigger house, that fancier this and fancier that. And we've now come to a realization that that is delusional. It is not the way to buy happiness. And happiness isn't in happiness, enrichment, our abundance, our love, our joy comes from within. And when we do find that, then we find joy in everything that we do, in everything that we are. It is a journey that we have to take. It's a quick fix. It's not something you can just put on your credit card. It is something you have got to be willing to purchase, both financially, emotionally, spiritually, in every way, to discover who you are from that inside out. Because the store's inside, folks. Go in. It's not outside.
Yes. So I'm a woman who's deciding that I want to follow in your footsteps, so to speak, and kind of chuck what I've been doing up into my 50s and start out new. What 5 things do you tell me to do? What do I bring with me? How do I approach it? What do I do first?
Take a breath. Take a very deep, deep breath. Take some time out in between. Don't rush into anything. You have to download and remove yourself from where you have been and who you have been. You need some transitional time where it is now all about you, the nurturing of you, the healing of you, the aligning of you, stepping into your presence. You can't go on to something else when you're still carrying the old garbage with you. So you need to take some time out for you, purely love and nurturing of you, in whichever way you need to do it. And then you're stepping forward. Don't go, I success. Okay, that person, you have no idea the journey that's taken for them to get to that success. And that doesn't mean you're going to parallel it. It may not. It's what are the few things that you want to achieve? Write them down. But don't look at it as you think somebody else wants you to have that success. You've got to understand your why. Why do you want this success?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Why is it important to you? Is it image? Is it ego? Or is it something that's coming from the heart and the soul? If it's image and ego, you're going to go right back on the same treadmill.
Right.
If it's coming from the heart and the soul, you're really doing something that's meaningful and purposeful. Once you've discovered your why, well, now you're looking at how. How do I achieve this? And with the how, first and foremost, you maybe need some skills. You may need to take some courses. You may need to brush up. And that doesn't mean we don't go by the piece of paper anymore. You don't need the MBA, the DBA, BBA, and all of that. It is, you bring your beautiful divine presence and you learn these tools and you bring them together. And that's what will lead you forward. Then you've got to understand where. Where is this? You're trying to reach the world? Well, target more. Hit your community first. Find your sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
Find the people that are on the same wavelength, that are looking for the same things as you, and build your community. And then the what. Well, what else can I do? What else can I stand for? Because you are your brand. Who you are and what you're trying to do is you. Before you are successful with anything or selling anything, people are going to buy you. If I don't find you authentic, if I don't think you truly believe in what you are doing, why should I believe in you? Mm-hmm. So, and I think the very, very important thing is, if you don't love it, and I mean love it, from the very core of you, don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't bother. Because if it doesn't come from a place of love, you will never find the success that you truly want. I don't know if that was 5 things or not.
That was cool. I have one thing to add, and it's something that I had to really let go of. When you're working in corporate America, they really want you to drive towards perfection. I mean, they expect perfection. And we both know, and by the time you get our age, there really is no such thing as perfection. In fact, if there was one word in the English language I would want to get rid of, is perfection, because there is no such thing. It does not exist. Yet you pursue it many times on your job, maybe being a wife or a mother, whatever. But when you become an entrepreneur, or when you decide to pursue your passion, one of the first things I think you want to let go of is the idea of perfection, because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to find out all the things that you don't know. You're going to start down one path and realize, okay, I don't want to do that. Or you'll discover something else that you're interested in that is maybe a better approach. And it's all part of your process of becoming. And you have to be okay with that. It's okay if it's not successful every single time.
Yes, I quite agree. And I actually think perfection is in the imperfection, because that's what makes you unique.
Yes, absolutely. I just today, on a client I was talking to, and she was talking about how she too has learned to let go of perfection, even in her job, because it's impossible. They can set that standard, but you already know how much you really want to give of yourself to get to that standard. Once you've made, okay, this is how much I'm giving. Okay.
Yes.
After that,
boundaries.
You set boundaries when you're working, and when you're working for yourself, it's important for you to do the same. One of the things that happened to me when I first started my business, I took that work ethic and that need for perfection and success and all of that from corporate America and applied it to my business. And I was working easily 15, 16 hours a day for at least 2 or 3 years. Didn't even feel it, then all of a sudden I hit a wall. And I'm like, what's wrong? I'm doing this is what I want to do. I was so burnt out because I had no balance.
No.
And I don't want to say work-life balance, because many times, when you're pursuing your passion and doing what you really want to do, it doesn't always feel like work.
Right.
But you want to have a balanced life. It's not
Yeah.
balanced if you're sitting behind the computer 16 hours a day. That's not balanced. That's not well.
No.
So you want to make sure you get into things that keep you well. You know, you get exercise, that you eat right, that you have girlfriend time or boyfriend time, that you know, have something recreational, something that gets you out of the house if you're working from home or away from your shop if you own your own place. You want to do those things so that you can have a balanced life, because it's so easy when you're pursuing your passion to lose track of time. But guaranteed at some point you'll hit the wall and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I'm not having fun. This feels
or even if you are, you know, you're immersed in a business like you got caught with me. I realized last year, you know, I would be spending 8 hours, 6.5 days behind the computer building this network, supporting my host, supporting the shows I was doing, you know, one-man show here, doing everything. And I love what I do. That's no question. A great deal of joy. But I had balance, had no life outside of it. I wasn't actually meeting people physically. I had one or two friends now and again, or my kids. And then what else was there? I had become business. Now, it is an extension of me, but I'm not meant to become it. And this is the thing again, even when you love what you do, be careful that you don't become so immersed in it that you actually lose who you are too.
Right, that's right. And I think that as we age, as we go into the midlife thing, you will begin to find, because almost like you know, throw back the curtains and all of this sunlight comes in and you discover other things. Oh, and I want to do this. Oh, and I want to do that. And that's okay. That's okay, because that's what keeps you, you know, constantly learning new things, pursuing new opportunities. That's not a bad thing, because one of the other things that we have on us is that, you know, you choose one career, one job, one company, one husband, one, you know, this is it. Now, you and I know that life is not like that. You change. And I think change is good, because within change, there's always an opportunity to learn and to find out. Yeah, about different facets. So tell us a little bit real quickly. You've had a successful network, about the shows that you have and some of the guests that you have. They already know about me, but some of the other guests that you have.
Well, I mean, truly and honestly, it's across the board. Anything from the age of 9 to 85 I've had on. And it really is about people who have taken that journey or on that journey, who've made that self-discovery of what they really are here to do, have discovered that gift that they were given that now is a part of service to humanity, that have found a conviction to stand by, and just be a book or program or a tool, or just, you know, a novel or whatever it is that they've done, or art or music. It's that conviction, that love, and that always comes across something they're doing that's truly authentic to them. So we're going to be bringing even more of these shows here. We're now branching out, not just audio, into video as well. Not everybody will want to do a video show, and that's okay, because we are primarily a radio, but we are going to be doing videos which will go up on YouTube as well, giving people the option to go either way, which I know you're going to love, because you're very comfortable behind the camera. It's taken me a while to get comfortable behind the camera, but I've literally been thrown into it. Did first video show today actually on Channeling Ascensions, but it's also now about, I see we need more, not only, you know, more people. I can only do so many shows a week. I've had quite a number of hosts, but people come and go because of life taking them on different journeys. So I'm opening up to new hosts to come and share their stories and share their, you know, other people that they know. But it's, you know, for me, it's, I started seeing, well, if I can do this, this is also where we can go. And we've already gone into books, and we're going to go further into books. And we're going into the video, we're going into webinars, and we're going into fundraising for other organizations. And that's just there because I keep seeing it's not just one level, it's not just one thing. This complements this, and this expands on that. But paint the blueprint, right? You put out what you want, and then you surrender to receiving.
Yes.
And you will receive what you're meant to do this time and this now as it is presented, and you go ahead and do that, and then it will open up to something else. So your blueprint is there. Don't expect that now you're going to go and get it all done. It's just, you know, for God to see what you want to do, and then surrender to the receiving. It will happen as it's meant to happen, when it's meant to happen.
Absolutely. And Sara, you're such an inspiration, and you always do everything with such grace and compassion and love, and that makes such a great difference. And I'm so happy that you got a chance to spend some time with us. Thank you so much for visiting
Oh,
with
pleasure.
the Wellness Woman Show. It's been wonderful to have you.
And don't forget to come on over and listen to Lynnis's shows and watch her videos on selfdiscoveryradio.com with her Wellness Journey show.
Yeah, absolutely. The Wellness Journey, we have live, or not live, but brand new shows on Tuesdays that premiere, and we're starting a brand new podcast series on the Wellness Journey. So please take a look at all the shows on the Self-Discovery Network, the Self-Discovery Radio Network. Is that correct?
No, it's actually selfdiscoveryradio.com.
Self-Discovery, okay, selfdiscoveryradio.com. Fantastic.
Yep.
And thank you to all of you for joining us today. We've got to run, but just remember that along the way, as you're going on your wellness journey, you're going to learn all kinds of things, and all these things are valuable to help you live a well life in your mind, body, and spirit. My name is Lynnis, and you've been listening to the Wellness Woman Show on New Earth Television. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.